Triangle. We may need, hi, folks. Welcome back to Intuitive Relationships. And today we're going to be talking about life skill number 4. Life skill number 4 is becoming a freedom sovereign being. Now, we took a look at what's it going to take to be a freedom sovereign being. So I'm going to start off with this little acronym right here. You're going to come into this training and we're going to teach you about how to have an intuitive relationship and what laws you need to be able to become a freedom sovereign being. So how many of you last week or the week before walked out of here feeling like you were, this number one is you're unconsciously incompetent? Did you feel like, oh my gosh, I don't know anything? Did you feel like, will I ever be able to learn this? Did you feel like, oh, this is overwhelming, I can never get through it? Or did you become consciously incompetent? That's what we want you to become. You all passed the test. You are consciously incompetent, and we're going to celebrate that. I've got someone smiling, right? Consciously incompetent. Now, we're going to go through the training and it will take several months because you grow, you're a beautiful flower that needs to blossom. But not all trees, not all flowers bloom at the same time. So we want you to learn the principles and blossom at your rate. So you're welcome to attend this as long as you'd like. Hi, everybody. You're starting to show up. Thank you. It's good to see you. And we'll move on. So first you come in unconsciously incompetent, then you're consciously competent. And what we want you to do after you go through all the training is become consciously competent. Now you need to know I am somewhere between here and here. There's a piece of me that's still consciously incompetent because I'm still learning. And there's a piece of me that I feel very, very consciously competent about. So my goal and your goal, I invite you to become unconsciously competent. Now, how long does it take a swimmer to become an athlete that can compete in world swimming trials? Did it happen overnight? I don't think so. But that's what you and I are going to do. We are going to practice becoming a freedom sovereign being, but we need the awareness of what we're doing that doesn't allow us to be that. So with that said, we're going to talk about how to become a freedom sovereign being. May I borrow your eraser? Thank you. So it's okay to be consciously incompetent, and it's okay to recognize you're constantly incompetent. So today's lesson is all about becoming a freedom sovereign being. This happens to be life skill number 4. And life skill number 4 is the goal you are going to set for yourself to where you want to be. Now, to do that, we have to do certain things. I'm only allowed to be in a V over here, so I hope I didn't go off the page. Did I go off the page? Good. My kids have me grounded. I feel grounded with these lines on the floor. My kids have me grounded during this COVID-19, right? And they go out and do my grocery shopping and they clean off the packages and they won't let dad and mom join in at all. So we are grounded to home. So now, 1, to be a freedom sovereign being, you learn to embrace these 5 freedom principles. I don't know quite how we're going to have our engineers handle these, but we're starting off with the overarching goal. And this is the first one. We talked about it in lesson 1 and 2. The second one, I'm stepping off the picture again. I'm being a naughty girl, not in the right place. Here I am. I'm back. And to be able to become a freedom sovereign being, this is what we're going to attach to, not to fairness and force. We're going to talk about it more in detail. But this over here is who we want to be. We call this, it's going to be a new name up here. It's going to be Freedom Relationship Principles, but the tagline is going to be our relationship climate code. Everybody has a code, and Intuitive Relationships has a climate code. The reason we call it a climate code is when you are doing all 5 of these at once, you create a safe place for yourself in your interaction with somebody else, but you create a safe place for those you are talking with. How many of you have children that go off the rails? They are so frustrated. They're throwing a temper tantrum. They're laying on the floor. How do we normally handle it? Well, a force mode would pick them up and spank them. Why? Because he has a belief that I'm smarter and I'm right. Now, a fairness mode wouldn't so much go spank them and throw them in the bedroom and tell them to be good. A fairness mode would try and talk to them and try and be nice. And if that didn't work, they'd probably blow their cork and throw them into the bedroom. Fairness and force are not as healthy in a relationship as freedom. So tonight we're going to talk about your inalienable rights, and you will find it. I don't know if it's going to go up on the screen or not, but there are 5 things you need to embrace as your new philosophy to be a freedom sovereign being. 1, we talk about integrity. I'm totally honest, recognizing that a lie is any communication given with the intent to deceive. We all have an inner source deep inside that knows when we're lying. You don't like your parents to lie to you. You don't want to lie to your kids, but we have beliefs in our brain that drive us to lying. One of them, for a force mode person, would be, I'm superior, I'm right. And if they really believe it, they have to act it. And if they act it, they are going to insist that their ideas are correct. Why? Because the belief says they're right. Now, once that belief is locked in, it's like a gear on a 4-wheel drive vehicle. I know years ago, apparently they had to get out and change the gears on those 4-wheel drives. Now we just have to push a button. But what the force mode person has to do is get out and unhook that gear that they are superior and add to it maybe and maybe not. Oh, we just moved to hypothetical language. When we train you on the language of freedom, that's one of the first things we're going to encourage you to do. Use hypothetical language. So if you think you're perfect and you're this wonderful narcissist who's entitled because you're right, and everybody has rewarded you for being right. Oh, Mr. Boss, you are just so wonderful. I just don't understand how well and how good you are at being right. Guess what? Did I sound authentic? When you heard me say that, did I sound authentic? Was I totally honest? Those of you who don't think I was authentic, shake your head. I was what you call placating and kissing up. Why would I want to placate and kiss up? So I don't get into trouble. So I get into good favors. So maybe I'll get a raise. or maybe I am just surviving. If I'm thinking maybe I'll get a raise, maybe I will be elevated in my business, I am what we call someone over here trying to climb the force mode ladder and become eventually the head of the company. And they work to climb that ladder, and they placate, and they perform. And many who climb this ladder can perform. But guess what? They learn climbing this ladder up here to force mode, how to be force mode. They also learn how to survive force mode. They also have self-awareness, meaning they know what they want and they are going to do whatever they can do to get there, even if it means I don't keep my commitments. Over here in integrity, it says I'm totally honest. Recognizing that a lie is any communication to deceive. A force mode person will lie. It's one of his first mandates. Lying, right here, when you have that model, this is what it be. We're hoping to get these models that we can send out to you in the internet, so you can have them all the time. We use them in this training because we use it all the time. So here we go. They will lie. They will sequester people and not give people information that they should know about how to be successful in the business. Why? Because they see the other person as competition. And they won't. They're going to climb the ladder, and they don't care who they step on. I usually have another one. I'll just show you, and I think I've used it before, but I didn't put it in this session right here, but I'll pull it out real quick. This is who you see in force mode. Aha. I'm going to get these all in order with a number so you can go quickly to it. Here he is. He's the top of the heap. Now, how close do I need to get for you to see this? Can you see it? The top one is freedom, helping the person climb the hill. The middle one is a controller with a bunch of puppets. And the bottom one is crushing everybody under him. You get it? It's a climate, and they're consistent. One thing about crazy makers or force mode people is you can count on them being consistent. I just watched a BBC movie. It's on Amazon, and it doesn't cost anything if you have an Amazon shop. But the force mode individual played that force mode role 100%. When he could have been benevolent, he crushed. When he wanted to climb the ladder of force mode, he pulled people in that would push him along to climb the ladder. And the war we see in that is between someone who does things intuitively because it's the right thing to do. He's a little wild, but he does it because it's right thing to do. And so the war is between somebody between here in freedom and fairness, trying to be more freedom, with a super controller who's going to rule everything in that community. So we need to profile. We profile to keep ourselves safe. We also profile to discover if we're a brat, because we learn. So we write to have our inalienable rights. Now I'm going to read them to you. They're here. I choose to be a freedom sovereign being. It is an individual or group having supreme authority, means not controlled by others, having independent authority over self. This guy I told you about, his name, the thing I watched is called Poldark, Poldark. His name is Ross. He is running by his intuitive nature. He looks kind of bratty what he does, but he's fighting a war with somebody who's floating back and forth between ultra force mode and force mode. And he does this role 100% throughout the whole movie. Be careful if you get into it, then you might become like me. It's like I had to do 3 hours of it before I go to bed because I want to find out what the end is. I'm finally through it. Now I can give up my addiction. All right. Now we're back here. As a freedom sovereign being, you have independent authority over self. That is what I saw Ross doing in that movie. He maintained his beliefs. Sovereignty is supreme authority, independence of political control of other states, and power of self-government. Now, that's really becoming independent. You're independent, you believe your value system so well, you're willing to take whatever comes your way, live with it, adjust, and move on. I'm a freedom sovereign being. I know I have both the right and power to rule myself. It exists within me. See, that's why I say the inside self isn't broken. If you're a true seeker, you are going to bubble to the top. To make their own laws. These laws are in keeping with their personal belief and value system. At the same time, they need to honor the individual rights of other principalities. So some of you maybe have a family member who is trying to rule you, trying to get others on their side to get you to do what they want you to do. That would be somebody over here or even somebody here. And you say, no, that doesn't work for me. Learn that line, folks. No, that doesn't work for me. If I use it, I'm not shooting my guns at the other guy. I'm just taking a stand for myself in freedom. No, that doesn't work for me. That's all you say. If you start spilling your beans and start telling everybody why it doesn't work for you, you're setting yourself up for someone to undermine your reasoning. Count on it. Your world, your life is your personal life. And some people you just don't brainstorm with, because then they'll come back and be mad at you because you're not doing what you were brainstorming to do. You were just brainstorming, right? I'm totally honest. By the way, conversations with one another will convey warmth, value for, and a deep commitment to listen to the opinions of others. The mutual goal is to be able to express your opinions and feelings freely. Both parties want to understand and be understood. Now, an sovereign being has borders and boundaries. One of our lessons in the next 8 weeks are going to be about how to define your borders and boundaries and how to stand up for them, regardless of the consequences that may come on you. You are going to protect those borders and boundaries. Why? Because you're a sovereign being and you believe in your inalienable rights. And I believe in jerky guy who wants to attack me to have his inalienable rights, but I'm not going to get emotionally caught up in that dance. I can't. If I get dancing with that partner, I run the risk of being controlled. So we're going to have to train you to keep your prefrontal lobe online, because that's your executive functioning, and to keep your instincts online, because your instincts are going to help you fly through those awkward relationships that you come in line with. You are have self-determination and to be self-governing. Oh, what does that mean? That means you have the right to choose to who you are going to choose to be. That's your inalienable right. You have the right to live how you choose to live. You have the right to reclaim relinquished stolen power. And sometimes your power has been stolen and you don't even know it. You have the right to have your own wants, your own dreams, and the desire to create. A sovereign being is a creator. They problem solve, they create. We need them. It makes the world a better place. Come down. They have an innate right to live, to grow, and to progress as they see fit. I have the right to progress as I see fit, right? I have the right to pursue happiness. Now, here's the mystery of a happiness. Happiness you create. The neighbors can't make you happy. Almighty heavenly being above can't make you happy. Your parents can't make you happy. You may be doing what your parents want to keep the climate between you happy, but are you happy? That happiness is an internal gift. Are you happy right now? Do you feel happy? Put on a half smile. Just put on a half smile. And what the climate do you feel? See, I just tied you into your nature. Many will say they feel at peace. Many will say they're calm. Many will say, kind of like this feeling. Well, guess what? It's the real you. Remember that feeling. And we'll discover through this training more about you. And you'll understand more about you, and you'll understand more about other people. These folks follow their heart. And I'm going to read this quote from a colleague of mine. Her name is Dr. Sandra Knowles. She's a therapist. And actually, she's a doctor. She does all kinds of things. Being sovereign is being whole with your spirit. You are able to self-regulate without emotional variance. You will not have your mood governed by the emotions, choices, or actions of others. You will do all that is needed to stay balanced. You will be enlightened and stimulated by your own interests. No one is responsible for your happiness but you. Okay? Well, a sovereign being is going to embrace those 5 freedom principles. 2, you're going to choose to fix your broken chooser. Oh, you might have a broken chooser. Can we explore that for a minute? We need to look at the difference between lost will and free will. Now, where do you have free will? When you went to college, did you get to pick what you wanted to be major in? I bet if I asked you, there's some of you who said you would be able to. Anybody like to answer that question for me? Did you get to choose what you wanted to major in? Raise your hand if you're willing to do that. Okay, we're gonna we don't see you on our frame here, but you're there. Cecilia is going to tell us, did you get to choose what you wanted to be?
I did.
And what did you choose to be?
I chose to be a teacher.
Good. I went to school, and when I went to school, I was mandated to not dance. I taught dancing in the community that I lived in. And when I got down to BYU, I wanted to dance with what we called then was the program bureau. My mother said, no, you're going to go to be a grade school teacher. That is what you're going to do. And I thought to myself, oh, now I came out of Canada. I go to register and they say, well, what do you want to major in? Guess what I said? What's a major? Because in Canada, the rule, when you get into a certain way, everything's chosen for you. You just get in the rowboat and go down the stream. I said, what's a major? Told me what a major was. And I thought to myself, oh, I guess it is elementary education. Whose idea was that? My mother's. Did I have free will at that point in history? Then she says, well, what do you want to minor in? And I said, what's a minor? And he listed all the other minors. And when I finished it, I thought, oh, I think I'd like to be in psychology or therapy or something like that. And so they put down a minor for me in psychology. I go home to visit my aunt, and I say to my aunt, I really think I'd like to be a social worker or a psychologist. And she said to me, oh, Sharon, you can't do that. Why? The Jensens have this soft little heart for everybody, and it would just break your heart to work with the poor people. And I said to myself, oh, I can't be a psychologist because I won't have a heart that can be a heart that will be broken working with poor people. All right, what does that tell you about me in those early years? Who was my master? Who governed my thinking? Totally. So did I have will at that point in time? No, I had lost my will. In fact, I questioned if I ever had a will, right? So the definition of will is this: the power or capacity for free conscious choice. Did I have free conscious choice about my major and minor? Not really. 2, the ability to control one's actions, especially self-control. Can you control yourself? When you get angry, can you emotionally self-regulate? Well, we'll train you how to do that, because it will be a good fit for your core. It'll be a good fit for who you really are. A definition of will is a fixed, resolute purpose, sheer will. Oh, sheer will. This is linked to choosing. I choose. I choose to be a freedom sovereign being. I'll talk about that a little more, about choosing. If you don't choose, you're still stuck in the mud with old tradition, right? It is a definition of will is a preferred course of action or a wish. All right. You have to have, the first class we had that was an introduction to our material was about self-awareness and other awareness. And it takes other human beings in our lives to have self-awareness and other awareness. Oh, I'm getting pushed back farther. Thank you, Chris. I'll move this. That's so everybody can see the board, right? Thank you. What I have a one-track mind. It's so nice to have other people track me. Here we go. The verb of will is to determine by free choice to bring about the exercise of will. Did I have free choice to bring about the exercise of will back then? Folks, this is what happened to me. I was watching the Program Bureau dance, and I said to myself, you know what, I can do that. I think I will go and pick up shoes. I was a Highland Fling dancer and Chartreuse and those kind of dances. And I was an international dancing, like the Mexican hat dance. And I thought, I'm going to go down and buy some shoes. My mother wouldn't even let me take my shoes with me to school. So I went down and bought some shoes, and I got some records. They were big records back in those days. And I walked in to where they were auditioning for the Program Bureau. I walked into the door and I froze right in the middle of the doorway. I couldn't take a step in. Why? Because my mother said, you are not to dance. You are down there to go to school. I picked up my bag of shoes, turned around, and walked away. Did I have free will to choose? No, I didn't. Verb, another verb, to settle conclusively, to decide to do. Meaning, yes, I will. I could say, yes, I will. I'm going to try out. Didn't exist in me. To do something. I'm going to do something. Yes, you will do it. And the last fourth one is to do as one pleases, like abstinence. Oh, now we're looking at addictions. One thing I know about when you put that will into motion and you determined to accomplish it, and you make the decision, I choose to do this, you are better apt to surviving, to dropping all the triggers that keep you caught in addiction. Now, I have my addiction. I like movies, but I like to see the ending. I still have not total free will to balance my life by watching a series. I would do better if I just watched the series once a week. But I had the whole series, 4 seasons of them, and I couldn't let it go. That is my problem. It's not Kent's problem. He could get up and shut down the TV, and I probably would follow him into bed. But it's me that has to choose to school me. Ken can't do it for me. My mother's no longer around to do it for me. I have to do it for myself. Now, we are going to talk about some of these folks have choosers that were never operating at all. On the freedom, fairness, force model, you have fairness mode, force mode, resistant stressee, non-resistant stressee, and the resistant stressee climbing the ladder. Now, to help you understand that in more depth, I have asked them to put up this self-worth scale. When push comes to shove, at the way we view ourselves through the eyes of our own self-worth is what is really blocking us. It's not mother, it's not father, it's not your school teacher, it's how I view me. And who of these 3 has no will at all? Is it? And we're going to talk about the resistant stressee climbing this ladder and this one. I'm the poster child of a non-resistant stressee, and I do not feel bad about that, folks, because being that poster child has taught me how to move from here. I became a resistant stressee, and then I'm moving up towards here. Now, we're going to talk about resistant stressees. This non-resistant stressee has no Bill of Rights. Did I have the right to choose what I wanted to be at school? By the way, I went back at age 55, and I chose to be a social worker and a therapist. I had gained my will back by then, but I couldn't have executed that will before then because there was a satellite system around a belief I had about me. And what we find in non-resistant stressees is they take full blame for everything that goes wrong. They come to believe it is all their fault. If I didn't get good grades and I had danced and I didn't get grades that would please my mother, it would have been all my fault because I danced. And I was avoiding it being my fault. We all kind of do that, don't we? If you live with a stressor in fairness or force. So, Ruth, if you can put up the self-worth scale, I would appreciate that. It is It is all about how you perceive yourself. It's this one, Ruth. Can you see it okay? Oh, it's over here. We got it. Great. Notice, high self-worth is in freedom is there. But notice there's not anything below it. But notice right in the middle between force mode and fairness is this climb up this ladder. At the very bottom of it, it's self-worth 6. And I'm going to go from the bottom up to the top. Thanks, Ruth. Self-worth 6. And the one on your left is in fairness mode. The one on your right is in force mode. So let's talk about it. The self-worth 6 has internalized low self-worth. You look over here at fairness, they have internalized unconscious incompetence. Remember our little things we put up on the board? They're unconsciously incompetent and they don't even know it. Ah, that's a 6. And I am down here a 6, believing it is all my fault. Now I happen to believe that everybody that's a non-self who is a non-resistant stressee has probably got a hall pass to heaven. Why? Because they are surviving and they don't know how to do anything different than survive. So let's look at 5. Remember, self-worth arrivedness is right here. Self-worth arrivedness is fairness. The arrivedness print has become internalized up here. Well, let's stay down here at the bottom for it. We're going to climb. So say I was this non-resistant, and I'm going to come over here to a resistant stressee. I have noticed that when you start liking yourself, you start wanting to express your truth to other people. True? So we're down here, and if we look at the self-worth scale, you're a 5. A 5 on the self-worth scale, notice Ken has on the low self-worth, he's got the square, but it's not so square as over on the right side, which is total force mode, right? So a 5 puts on a facade to not look bad. How many of us go around smiling? Oh, it's just really nice to see you. And you got this kind of face that's got this fake smile on it. You can read it, you can pick it up. We called them wallflowers years ago. You know, the wallflower who didn't ever dance and stood at the back of the hall in a smile with a facade of having high self-worth. What was really at the bottom is their view of themselves, who they were. So we're going to climb the ladder. So the 5 is low self-worth with a facade of high self-worth to not look bad. The 4 is a low self-worth with a facade of high self-worth to look good. Oh, this is the one who has to wear the right kind of clothes, the right kind of shoes. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. When you're dealing with adolescents, you better help them get the right kind of shoes. Why? Because they're black and white thinkers. Their prefrontal lobe hasn't come online to let them know it's okay to be an authentic, freedom, sovereign being. Their identity is received from their culture, their peer groups. That's their identity. But at the same time, as an educator, you want to broaden their awareness. I have a grandson. He was 13, 14 years old. And I was talking to his mother on the phone, and she says, "Oh, this is really funny." And she named the child, and he says, "He's going around walking." "Oh, I'm thinking about thinking. I've never thought about thinking before. Oh, this is so interesting," as he's talking to his mother. And I hear at long distance that he's thinking about thinking. Thinking about thinking is moving into formal thinking, where you can think outside the box. You've moved from black and white thinking to formal thinking. Children who live in a home that feels safe will move into formal thinking before children who live in a home that they have to keep themselves safe. I started to have formal thinking. I remember thinking for myself in my teenage years and wondering questions about things. So I was thinking about thinking, but I could not talk about my thinking. If I talked about my thinking, it would get schooled or conditioned to think like my stressor. Some of you have lived with a super stressor who has to have everything their way. You will be punished because over here, this person will retaliate. It's not a matter if, it's when. So you don't think outside of your stressor's box. I watched that in that show, by the way, of one lady who placated a super stressor. I did. When I get around a super stressor, I clam up and I have to watch myself not to get caught up in their arrivedness. Now, I'm going to climb up the ladder from 6, 5, and 4 in force mode. That's on the right. The non-resistant stressee has internalized low self-worth. They don't feel of worth at all. You're going to see that if you ever watch the movie The Godfather and look at the kids in that system. You'll see one of the brothers with total low self-worth. You'll also see someone with superior self-worth to not look bad. They will make choices to make them look good with their friends or get in favor back with the Godfather. 4 is the facade of superior self-worth to look good. They're just climbing up the ladder. Now we're going to climb the ladder. When they become a 3, they embrace the philosophy of force. As they keep climbing the ladder, they embrace diligently, eliminate the flaws in the belief and value system that doesn't align them with force. You're going to see this in gangs. There has to be a top dog in a gang. I remember watching a video of gang mentality. The girl was in prison, and she, with the most intense emotional feelings, said, I love my gang members. I will do anything for them because they make me feel safe. Oh, do you get it? She's part of a unit. She feels safe by belonging to a group. And she'll do anything to please them. I would love a window into her childhood just to see, because under extreme pressure, you buy beliefs about yourself that are often lies. Now, when we climb the ladder of fairness, you have internalized it. You're unconsciously incompetent. A 5 is a facade to not look bad. By the way, I remember working to not look bad and working to look good. I could go back over my history and see where I was working hard to look good. I'm laughing at it. Just I tell you, I dated a guy whose family was quite more well off than I was. I wanted to look good. Didn't want to look bad. I wanted to fit in, right? 4 is the facade to look good. I climb up to 3. That is sensing self-worth arrivedness, aligning with the fairness philosophy. The 2 is diligently eliminating the flaws in the belief system. And 1 is becoming like the system. Now, I want you to know, climbing this ladder is not speaking for yourself. You climb that ladder and you become the society you walk into. That's who you become. You think like them, you do like them, you are like them because you want to fit. But bottom line, underneath, you're still struggling with self-worth. You're still struggling with your identity. You haven't chosen an identity that you are choosing. Your system is choosing that identity for you. The answer to overcoming this is education. I have fun with Cecilia. She keeps telling me her success stories with her kids in grade school. But she's teaching them how to think. She's teaching them how to play fair. She's teaching them how to understand why they have their emotions. And she's teaching the whole class to help someone who's struggling with their identity to affirm that person's worth. Oh, principle number 2. Commitment to affirm worth and show genuine compassion. Value is sent even in the face of inappropriate behavior. Now, I'm going to take another more 10 minutes to teach the concepts. Then we are going to turn off the video. It's being recorded. The concepts are being recorded. And I'm going to open the class for all your questions. Has anyone asked a question to this point that we would need to answer? Nope. Okay. You're going to have your chance in a minute. All right. 2, that which is rewarded persists. I'm climbing up this ladder, or my stressor wants me to be whichever they are, and I reward their misbehavior. Oh, you know, you're right. I shouldn't have stayed out so late. I won't do it again. You're such a good mother. Now, whose behavior am I rewarding? Hers. Who's keeping me in the down position? Me. Until I become honest and know who I am, how can I possibly take a stand for me? Because I've been trained to take a stand with a stressor. I've been trained to take a stand to not get in trouble. I am surviving. So, note, these people in fairness and force, we're going to talk more about these and how they control. But these people in fairness and force get a heady kick. Note, control is a heady whine. Now, I kind of have a little feeling for what that's like as a dancer. And as being successful, gee, people tell me I did great over and over and over again. And I could see how I could get very proud, right? Because now I know some people who have been in drama and who have been quite successful as young people. You might know some of them. You could probably know some here in Utah who have been very successful in the media, in the entertainment world, and all of a sudden their success ended. It ended. And I've heard one of the persons that I know shared the hardest thing he had to do was find who he was, because his whole self-worth was hinged on the accolade of the industry that he was in. And all of a sudden, he wasn't popular. All of a sudden, he became a zero. So, folks, we all struggle with that, our individual personal identity. We struggle with it because when we claim it back and choose to be freedom, we don't care what other people think about us, because we like ourselves. We care for us more. We want to be who we are, to create our skills, to create relationships that can be successful, to create a deep bonding relationship with people we can trust. Those relationships reinforce the reality of who we are. Individuals of infinite worth. I believe every child was born with infinite worth. I believe you have down deep in your core an inner knowing that you're of worth. But if you listen to the society around you, you begin to question yourself. And if you are living in a fairness world who controls with guilt, load, and shame, or a force mode world who controls with pure anger, force, and will retaliate to get you to do what he or she wants you to do, you will begin to question your worth. And when you begin to question your worth, right down here, you're a non-resistant stressee who really can't make decisions until the stressor gives them okay. I'll end this section with a story. I was engaged when I was at BYU. My mother didn't like the engagement, so she promptly released herself from fourth grade teaching and got a teacher to take over for her, and she came down and to visit me. And she visited and interviewed all my roommates. The guy I was engaged with, she went over and interviewed all his roommates. She went and interviewed my bishop and his bishop. She interviewed him personally. I went down, visited his family down in, where did they go? Coral Gables, down in the Keys. And we got to know each other in his environment. And we made the decision that probably we weren't a good fit for each other. I'm the farmer's daughter who came off a farm, and he was in the elite with his buddies in college and his sorority. We were just really different, and we both agreed to end it. Later, years later, my mother was talking about it, and she let it slip out that she helped the person financially for him in his schooling. Woo. Interesting. Did I have freedom? I chose not to marry him, and he's a great guy, by the way. But he did eventually marry into his social circle, and he'd be very happy because he knows that lifestyle. But there were things about his philosophy that didn't quite jive with my philosophy. Then I met Ken Patey. Something happened there that was a little different. It was like we clicked at an intuitive level that I had never experienced before. I had been going steady with a stake president's son, and back in those days, we danced with everybody. We all got along great. And my steady said to me, "Why don't you look at me like Ken Patey?" Wow, I didn't know I looked at anybody like that before in my life. But there was something about him that I liked. There were several other men I liked. He goes on his mission. He comes back from his mission. I am in the town trading company. I'm in a farming community. My sister calls me up and she says, "Oh, Ken's trying to get a hold of you." And all of a sudden I have this flood of, "Oh, it's time." Not yet. Am I not ready? It was an intuitive response to something deep inside that had gone on between Ken and I long before we married. I had a list of things that I had to have in somebody that I liked. So all our conversations were things like this. Well, if you had a mongoloid child, how would you treat it? Are you interested in politics? Paul's over here laughing his head off. So what's your opinion about politics? And I asked him how he felt about subjects that were important to me. And I so like being in international communities that on Christmas time, I had him put candy canes. We put bows on candy canes and took it out to the Hutterite colony because I wanted to see if he could handle another culture. And he handled it fine. He was great. I thought, well, I guess I can't complain, can I? But what was more important was this intuitive knowing that it was right. But I also did things so it cognitively settled my mind to know that it was right. With that, you are going to have a lesson called Heart of Hearts Learning. It is helping you to learn to trust your instincts and intuitive responses. You have always had it in your life. You just need to know you know when that happened to you. And learn to recognize that it is walking with you daily. I have people who I watch and I know they're trusting their instincts, but they don't know they're trusting their instincts. But I want every one of you to come to trust your instincts because that is your inner guidance system that'll always keep you balanced in the journey through life, in the journey through weather all the storms of relationships. With that said, thank you. This lesson is about you choosing, and it's a conscious choice you need to make. And you need to have a game plan when you make that conscious choice so you can put it into motion. Thanks. I'm going to give you a breather for a couple of minutes, relax, and I'll be right back. Ruth, thanks for your help.